Hello friends, this is Nurul Islam Laskar, Honorary Director, Seven Sense Communication. Seven Sense Communication is one of the leading public relation firms of Northeast India, and we have been conducting regular sessions on various aspects of public relations in the context of the coronavirus pandemic, especially during lockdown and what will be before us after the lockdown. So in this context, we have dealt with various aspects of public relation, starting from the definition of public relation to the role of newspaper and what is the duty of the spokesperson, what is corporate social responsibility, all these things in the previous episode. Today it is the 7th episode, and we have decided to take a look at the history of public relations for the consumption of those who are not very familiar with the emergence of public relation as a major subject of study and a major activity, professional activity for the practitioners. So let's tell you that the beginning of public relation was in the market guilds of the European countries in the Middle Ages. The business people, the tradespeople who sat in the guild, in the marketplace, always wanted to be one up in competition with their other fellow business men and traders. So they wanted that they should have something special so that they can beat their competitors in business. So that was the beginning of public relation, although it was not very, structured and formalized as it is today. So from the Middle Ages, we would travel to the 19th century when the Industrial Revolution took place. So during Industrial Revolution, we all know that from this small production of things which were usually handcrafted, very few were produced during a day. There came those machines, and there was the Industrial Revolution, and what took months to produce was being produced in days and hours. So there was surplus production by industries, and the industries needed to sell their goods not only in the country of origin but also overseas, and therefore they needed a good image so that their items, their products could be sold. So there came the role of public relation, image building, and slowly it started to take a more concrete shape. In the beginning of last century, one name comes in the forefront, and that is the name of I.V. Lee, who is considered as the father of modern public relations. So I.V. Lee was a lawyer come journalist, and he brought the concept of public relation to the fore at a time when people used to, the industrialists and business houses, the commercial units, they used to hide the truth from public, fearing that if some truth which is negative comes before the public, it may harm the business of the organization. But I.V. Lee pointed out and convinced the business houses and the industrialists that it is always better to tell the truth, even if it is negative. Because if you don't tell the truth, people will have to depend on third parties, somebody else, and third parties may exaggerate, and the negative truth may be multiplied many times, and what people will hear would be something like a rumor or hearsay. So he convinced, for example, the coal miners. The coal miners, whenever there used to be an accident inside the coal mine, they used to hide the fact. So he convinced the coal miners that you tell the truth, and that will control the damage. It will limit the damage to your organization. And he was able to persuade them to tell the truth. Another important case study relating to Ivy Lee is that of the Pennsylvania Railroad. Pennsylvania Railroad used to hide the news of accidents. But Ivy Lee told them that whenever there is an accident, let's take the journalists to the spot and let them see how this accident happened and what steps the company is going to take to ensure that no such accident takes place a second time. This also was a very successful exercise. So with that, modern public relation began, and that is the reason why Ivy Lee is called the father of modern public relations. During the Second World War, we saw a limited kind of public relation which depended a lot on propaganda. Propaganda is a negative kind of public relations, a negative kind of image building exercise. It was mostly used by Hitler and his PR in charge, Goebbels. In propaganda, they used to believe that you tell a lie 10 times and then it becomes a truth. Unfortunately, even to these days, there are many governments and many organizations who take recourse to this kind of propaganda machine to build an image. But this kind of image which is built through propaganda doesn't last a very long time. After the Second World War, to mitigate the sufferings of the people and to rebuild the economies from the damage and destruction done by the Second World War, a lot of fresh reconstruction activities and image building exercises started, and then public relations got a new lease of life. Organizations like IPRA, International Public Relations Association, and in our own country we had the PRSI, Public Relations Society of India. These kind of organizations came up, and many independent public relations agencies came up, and there are consultants. So this was the beginning of modern, structured, organized public relations. Now, in the context of the coronavirus pandemic, which is a unique kind of situation, very rarely seen in the past, and even if it was there, it had not affected public relation in a big way, maybe because public relation itself was not in practice in a big way in those times. But this time, because of the coronavirus pandemic, it has taken a toll on public relations, and a time has come for public relation practitioners and public relation exponents, teachers, to wear their thinking cap and find out ways that when you are challenged by a tough situation like the coronavirus pandemic, followed by lockdowns for months together, and you don't have recourse to the usual tools of public relation, how do you face the situation? So this will be something we'll be discussing in details, bit by bit, and one issue at a time in the coming days. So I thank all the viewers and listeners for sparing your time for this 7th session on public relations during the pandemics and post-pandemic times. And today we have dealt with the history of public relations. In the coming days, we'll be dealing with other topics connected with public relation. Thank you.